Hello and welcome back to Shakesyear. We are working on the Tempest and we get to hear from Miranda today in Act 1, Scene 2. And Miranda is the daughter of Prospero, who is he's a magician of sorts, who used to be the Duke of Milan. But when his brother usurped his dukedom, he had Prospero and Miranda thrown on a boat that probably should have sank, but didn't, but landed them on this island where they've been living for the last 12 years. And also living on this island, there's a sprite named Ariel who had been imprisoned in a tree by a witch named Sycorax, who is the mother of Caliban, who is physically differently shaped than some other people might be. Sycorax has since died. Ariel was freed from the tree by Prospero, so now Ariel is in Prospero's service and is getting really antsy for their last day of work. And Caliban is also in Prospero's service. When Miranda and Prospero first came to the island, they were nice to Caliban, and Caliban showed them like where to plant things and where not to plant things and all that sort of thing. And they were nice to Caliban until Caliban tried to rape Miranda, so yesterday's monologue was Caliban saying how much he regretted them coming to this island. And, don't you remember when you were nice to me and now you're so mean to me? And Prospero's like, yeah, because you tried to rape my daughter. And Caliban is like, and I wish that I had, and I would have gotten away with it too if it wasn't for those meddling kids. No, he doesn't go Scooby-Doo, but he does say that he wished that he had been able to rape Miranda. And Miranda says, abhorred slave, which any print of goodness wilt not take, being capable of all ill. I pitied thee, took pains to make thee speak, taught thee each hour one thing or other, when thou didst not, savage, know thine own meaning, but wouldst gabble like a thing most brutish. I endowed thy purposes with words that made them known, but thy viled race, though thou didst learn, had that in it, which good natures could not abide to be with. Therefore wast thou deservedly confined into this rock, who hadst deserved more than a prison. So she didn't like the sexual assault. Shocker there. So yeah, she's not a fan of Caliban and maybe still has a little bit of PTSD about the whole thing. She was like, I'm the one that taught you how to speak. I gave you language so that you could communicate better, and you did this horrible, vile, really gross thing to me in return. Like, you absolutely deserve to be living in a rock. And Caliban is grumpy about the whole thing and bitter about the whole thing, and Prospero's like, go get us some wood, and Caliban begrudgingly goes. But then Ariel comes in. Remember, Ariel is invisible. Ariel was sent off to be a sea nymph and become invisible. Ariel comes in singing with Ferdinand following along, because Ferdinand, who is the king's son who had been on the boat, hears this song and follows it because the song makes him think of his father, makes him think that his father probably drowned, so he's like trying to follow the music, maybe find his dad, whatever. But he comes sort of stumbling and following this ssound, and Prospero's like, hey Miranda, check that out. And Miranda's like, a boy! Because she's seen her dad and she's seen Caliban, but now here's Ferdinand, who is better looking than either her dad or Caliban, so she thinks he's really hot and really likes him. She goes over and the two of them start talking. Ferdinand is like wowed that she speaks English, and then he's like, wait a second, you wouldn't also happen to be a virgin, would you? Because then, I'm the king of Naples, so I'll marry you if you're a virgin. She's like, well, I am. And Prospero is loving this whole thing because he had given Ariel orders sort of to make this happen. So he's glad that they're attracted to each other, but he's like, yeah, they're moving kind of fast. And if this is too easy, then they won't appreciate it. So I have to make it difficult. So he goes and starts calling Ferdinand a traitor and starts giving him a hard time and all this sort of stuff. He's like, you're going to be in my service. I'm going to shekel you and all this sort of thing. Meantime, he's like, Ariel, you did a great job. This is working perfectly, and I'm totally going to free you in 2 days. But you should be ashamed of yourself, young man. So it's one of those fun little things. I had a lot of fun playing that part when I played Prospero, going to the back and forth of I'm going to be mean to you, and oh my God, this is working out perfectly. So yeah, that's they do that sort of until the end of the scene when Prospero's like, follow me. Good job, Ariel. And then they all leave, and that's the end of Act 1. Huzzah! We've made it to the end of Act 1. So come on back for tomorrow for Act 2. where we get to meet some of the other people who were on the boat a little bit better than we met them in Act 1. Act 1, Scene 1, where we didn't have any monologues. So anyway, I'll see you tomorrow when we can meet some new characters. Mwah.